Cool technology. Come on. Okay. Right, lovely. It's working. Hooray, hooray. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all of our visitors on Facebook Live, and a very special happy Saturday to Karen and Padmacandra, who are the brilliant creators of this lovely book. It's so joyous, The Tale of the Whale. Look at his face. We're going to have a really lovely morning this morning. I think Karen is going to, you're going to read the whole story for us, Karen?
Yes, I will do that, definitely.
It's a lovely treat. And then we will hand over to Padmacandra, who is going to make fish with you. So I'm just going to quickly remind you now what you need, so that if you haven't got it together yet, your parents might be able to do a mad dash around the house and get you what you need. So you need a toilet roll. You will need some scissors. You will need a marker pen, a stapler with staples, please. Optional to have some string or ribbon, a piece of card, but it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It can be an old Christmas card or something like that. And then something round to draw around. And then you could have some other colours or some dotty stickers or some paint to decorate your fish with later on as well. Is that everything, Padmacandra? That's right, isn't it? I think I've got everything. That's my blue Peter moment.
Fantastic.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide myself because no one needs to see me. And I will come back in a little while, but I will be lurking in the background. So without further ado, I shall hand over to Karen. I hope everyone is sitting comfortably and are ready for a lovely story. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to see everybody today. And before I read the story, I've got a little something that I wanted to play for you, first of all. This has been recorded by a scientist friend of mine called Sal over in America, and he is a scientist that works with humpback whales, and he has managed to capture one of the beautiful songs that they sing. So I'm going to see if I can play it for you. Can you hear it? Strange, isn't it? It's a very haunting sound, but beautiful music sound coming from the whale. Let me turn that back off again now. And there's a whale in the story that I'm going to read. The story that we know is called The Tale of the Whale. You see on the front here, a beautiful picture of our whale and the child that's going to be in the story too. So here we go. The Tale of the Whale. It's written by me, Karen Swann, and by Padmacandra. I think it's always important to have a really good look at some of the cover pages as well when you look at books, because sometimes they give you a little hint about what the story is going to be about. This one's set on a beach. You can see it's a nice empty beach scene there. It's The Tale of the Whale, and it's published by Scallywag Press. And look, the little seagull up in the corner there. You might want to keep an eye out for the seagull because it comes into the story quite a lot. And again, the title pages of books, I think, are really interesting too. And again, we get to see a little bit about what the story is going to be about. It's been set, there's a beach here at the bottom. It's been set in this lovely seaside town here. Look, you can see all the goings on that are going on in the seaside town. There's people doing their shopping. There's lots of houses. There's a supermarket here. And there's even, look, a little cat on a roof up there. I don't know whether you can see that. There's bin men emptying the lorries, and there's a big headland here above the beach and around the sea. And again, there's a beautiful lighthouse on the headland. And look, at the top there, the seagull. And it gives us a bit of a run into the story, tells us what's going to happen. Look, the story's starting already on the title page here. And there's the child running up the cliff to the top of the headland to have a look out of the lighthouse and see what it is that they see. Where land becomes sky and the sky becomes sea, I first saw the whale and the whale first saw me. There's the child there, look, looking through the telescope out onto the whale. Look, there's a whale in the ocean. And look, there's a seagull up in the corner there. And high on the breeze came his sweet sounding song, musical notes travelling across to the child. We just heard that sound that the whale sings. I've so much to show you if you'll come along. And he's singing his song, look, and there's the child reaching out a hand to say hello to the whale. And look at the whale. This is such a beautiful, friendly whale. Big friendly eye there. And look, there's fish in the ocean. And some coral down the bottom here as well. You can see nice bright colours there. Look, if you have a look closely, there's some little crabs there too. And look, there's the seagull. He's singing as well. I think he's trying to join in the song. And the whale has got so much to show us. Let's go and see what. I scrambled aboard in the silvery light and watched cliff-top houses drift far out of sight. We floated away on the rocking horse sea. I smiled at the whale, and the whale smiled at me. There's the child getting on board the whale. It's scrambling aboard. What an ingenious way to get on top of a whale, look. And there's the cliff-top houses as they drift away on the rocking horse sea. And there's the whale smiling. Look, he's got a big smiley face. And the child on the top there. Look, there's the seagull. He's having a little doze, I think. Some jellyfish in the water there as well. And there's some flying fish here. Look. We might be doing something with those in a minute. We sailed the blue ocean with turtles and rays, and tail splashed the seagulls in deep water bays. There they are sailing the ocean. There's some turtles and some stingrays. And there's the seagull, look, joining them on the journey. We danced with the dolphins that waltzed through the sea. I laughed with the whale, and the whale laughed with me. There they are dancing through the ocean. I love this picture of the whale. Look, he looks so happy. And there's the little child there, look, on the tail of a dolphin. And they're coming out for a whoosh, big water splash there, having a ride on the water. I took a deep breath and we dived through the blue. And there, on the bottom, a ship with no crew. There they are diving down through the ocean, look. There's the child. Oh, he's shaking hands with an octopus there. There's the fish swimming around. And there's some fish down the bottom here. Look, there's even one looking through a porthole there, look, in the boat. There's lots of fish going on in the ocean there. Oh, and look, there's the seagull poking his head in, trying to see what's going on. We ducked under arches, no treasure to see. I shrugged at the whale, and the whale shrugged at me. Look at the beautiful arches in this picture. Look. They duck under the arches of the ship, and there's some beautifully coloured coral growing all over. Little porthole there of the ship, look, with the fish in it. There's an anchor at the bottom down here, look. And some turtles over on the edge there as well. There's a treasure chest too, but I don't think there's any treasure in the treasure chest. Not that I can see anyway. We swam over mountains, through valleys of sand, an ocean in motion, a bright, busy land with carpets of colours that breathed with the sea. I watched with the whale, and the whale watched with me. There they are, look, swimming over the mountains and the valleys, and through an ocean of motion, all the water wafting, making all the plants move and all the fish swimming around. Beautiful, brightly coloured fish, look. And carpets of colours that breathed with the seas moving. You see, look, the fish traveling all the way down and through, back over onto the next page. Look. And there's some seals here as well in this picture. Gives us an idea that we're moving a bit further down on our journey. Look. We crashed through the surface. We splashed oh so high. A splutter, a rumble, then whoosh to the sky. I'm flying, I cried to the cold ice-capped sea. I waved to the whale, and the whale waved to me. There they go, crashing out of the surface. Look, there's the seagull waiting for them when they get to the top. Look, some polar bears in the bottom here as well, and some icebergs. They've come up to the north. It's a lot colder up here now. Look, there's the polar bears again. This one's giving the other one a little fish. Look, that's the mummy polar bear, maybe. They're up in the Northland now. The whale's tummy rumbled. His mouth opened wide, and half of an ocean was swallowed inside. The whale opened his big mouth. That's how humpback whales feed. They open their mouth really big and they swallow. Lots and lots of the water goes into their mouth, and then they strain it out, and then whatever's left inside is what they eat. But it doesn't look like he's eating what he should be eating. There's lots of things in the ocean here that the whale is swallowing up as well that perhaps shouldn't be there. And look, the child looks a little bit concerned, and so does the seagull. I stared at the whale as he stared back at me. I understood now what he'd brought me to see. The child's face and the whale. An old water bottle, a toothbrush, a straw, a crisp packet, fishing nets, 10 bags or more, some food wrap and cartons, a large coffee cup, the soup of the ocean. He'd swallowed it up. The whale has swallowed up all the things in the ocean that weren't supposed to be there. Look, the child is giving the whale a hug. We're understanding now what the whale has actually brought them to see as well. There's the seagull in the corner. A turtle in trouble, a gull in distress, a tightening collar, a shopping bag mess. There's the turtle. It's got caught up in some fishing net that's been left in the ocean. There's the seagull. And this seagull here has got caught up in some of the plastic rings. And look, the seagull's trying to help him get away. There's a seal here on the beach with a collar around its neck with some plastic. And there, the seagull's trying to help clear some of the plastic bags as well. We travelled home, saddened by all we could see. I cried with the whale, and the whale cried with me. Look, they're heading home now. Look, plastic in the ocean here as well. Look, they're coming back to the beach, and all the people are waiting for them on the beach as they get back where the lighthouse is. I gazed in his eyes as I stood on the sand, and made him a promise to tell the whole land the tale of the whale and the plastic soup sea. There's the child, look, making the whale a promise that they will tell everybody, the whole land. And look, there's the whale drifting off away again, splashing his water as he goes. And there's the children on the beach waving goodbye. And the promise is to tell the whole land the tale of the whale and the plastic soup sea. You've heard the whale's story. There's the child telling everybody, look, about the plastic, and everybody's listening. The seagull's trying to help as well. You've heard the whale's story. Please change it with me. There's the child on the beach, and the difference that they're making now. They're starting to clear up all the plastic that's on the beach, putting things in plastic bags and clearing it away so it doesn't end up in the ocean. Maybe having a think as well about what else that they could possibly be doing to stop the amount of plastic that's ending up on the beach. And again, the end papers are always really good. We get to see the difference that's happening to the beach now. All the people, all the things that they're doing to help clear up the beach and thinking about what they can do about the plastic. There you go. The tail of the whale.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Thank you, Karen. I remember the first time that I read it, I got emotional. The story itself is so beautiful and so important. And the illustrations, it's just like the perfect match made in heaven. So thank you so much for sharing it. We're going to hand over now to Padmacandra for a little bit of a Blue Peter moment. So I hope that you are ready and you've got all of your arts and crafts bits and bobs. I'm going to join in as well, but I'm not sure if I'll be brave enough to show you what I've made. So we will see. So I'm going to make myself quiet again and hand over to you.
Okay, I'm just waiting to see myself. I think I'll have to go on to the other view. Okay, well, lovely to see everybody, and that was such a beautiful reading and very moving and lovely to just hear it read by you, Karen. Right, so we're going to make some of these flying fish, which we saw in the story. On this page, we saw some flying fish, and flying fish, there's lots of different types of flying fish, all different colours and sizes. So what we need is a toilet roll. There are different sorts of toilet roll, it doesn't really matter, just a toilet roll. And we need some scissors and a pen, so some sort of pen that you can mark your toilet roll with. A marker pen is good. We need a stapler. I don't know if you've got a stapler with staples in it. If you haven't got one, you might be able to use double-sided sticky tape, but hopefully you've got one of these. And just an old bit of card. I've used an old Christmas card. We need a saucer or a lid, not very large. Yes, thank you, Karen. Exactly, ideal. And we need, this is optional. We could have some string. We could hang our fish up. So this is what we're going to be ending up with. Right, let's get started then. Got our toilet roll, and we're going to just close with our fingers, close one end of the toilet roll. That's it. And I've just marked, we're going to cut the corners with our scissors. You might get your grown-up to help you if this is if it's hard to do this. And then you just cut the corner. So I'm cutting one corner and then the other corner, so that I've got this. Yes, great. This is your basic fish. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the mouth of the fish. So if you hold your toilet roll like that, and then just imagine that the middle, a line going down through the middle there, we're just going to cut a little bit of a cut there, just like that. And then I've just marked it on here what it's going to end up looking like. We're doing the mouth, so we're just going to cut the, I'll just cut this bit and then cut just there to make the mouth. Oops, that just flew towards my computer. So there we are, have a mouth. Wonderful. Oh, that looks very nice, Karen. Okay, so that is our basic fish swimming along. Then we're going to make the tail. This is what the tail is going to look like. And the tail is made out of two parts. So you've got, take your piece of card and take your saucer, and we're just going to draw there, around there. So get my pen, draw around. Not halfway, but just a little bit on the edge there. I'll show you. I'll just do it. So I'm going to be cutting that for my fin, my flying fin. It's called a well, it's not quite a semicircle, it's a little less than a semicircle. That's what you're going to end up with. Lovely. Brilliant. And then we're going to cut the corner of our bit of card so that we've got a fin shape. And again, I'll just show you that. Just like that, we're going to cut along there. So just find a corner. Try and make these two sides as equal as possible so that it's kind of balanced. And then you cut that bit off. You've got a corner like that. Looks like a fish's tail. Right, great. So take your two pieces of card that you've got there and hold them together like that. Then you're going to put them inside the end of your fish like that. You can do it either way. You can do it that way. That's the way I have been doing it. The fin could be either way. And then you're going to try and staple that together, all of that together. Oops. You can just staple the two bits of card first or stick them first and then staple. If you haven't got a stapler, then you're going to have to stick them, but you'll need some quite strong double-sided tape for that. Okay, you're all doing very well. Now I'm just going to take my, that's great. Sarah, Karen's got a very good one there because that's kind of flying fish-like. Right, so we've got, yes, Natalie's is beautiful. She's got a flying fish-like one as well. Now, just mark where you want your eyes to go. You could have a fish that's got a mouth like that, that's kind of just a bit surprised looking, or you could turn it round and you'd have a small smiley fish. You could have a combination if you're going to make more than one. It's quite interesting seeing what a difference it makes to the two expressions of the fish. And then just mark, I usually put my eye sort of halfway along this line here, but just think about where you want to put your eye, and I'm just going to do it like a circle like that, and then I'm just going to put a black dot in that circle like that. And I've decided to make him he's looking a little bit downwards and forwards. And then I'm going to do an eye on the other side. Like that. What a lovely fish, Natalie. Natasha, sorry. Oh dear. Right, so that's that. Now we might want to hang our fish up. If you do want to, you can just thread that through the toilet roll to the other side. It's a little bit tricky. If you're very organised, you could have done this before. Well, before you stapled your endy bit in, and just like that, and just, I think I've done it the wrong way around. You want the end of the string to be like down to the bottom of the fish. I don't think that's very clearly explaining it like that, but I'll just show you like that. And then you just tie a knot. Again, you might want to get your grown-up to help with that. Tie a knot. I'm finding that my string is just coming through a bit, so you might need to fiddle about and get it to work. And then you have your fish there. Right, so the next really fun bit is we're going to be decorating the fish, and you might want to make quite a few of these and decorate them and hang them about, and you might want to carry on with this after chicken and frog, but I've actually I'm just going to quickly paint mine. How are we doing for time, Natasha? You okay? Right. I've got some paint here. If you can also stick bits of paper on. You can really use anything that you've got, sticky paper or sticky dots, or just coloured paper that you want to put the glue it on. I'm going to use paint. I'm just going to paint mine blue. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint over my eye and then put an eye in later. But you could paint around your eye. So this is quite fun. Sometimes the card might have a pattern on it already that you had for the tail. So flying fish are amazing because they can both fly and swim, which is an amazing thing. Imagine being able to do both of those things. And sometimes I think they glow in the dark as well. So they have all these special magical powers. So they spend a lot of time under the ocean, but then they leap out of the ocean as well and fly and see the sky. So they live in these different worlds. So that's mine, and I'm going to just let it dry by standing it up on its nose. That's quite handy. And I did do one earlier here. I did it a bit of a darker blue, and I'm just going to put some other colours on. As I say, fish are lovely for decorating because there are just so many different types of colours and things like that. Yeah, Natasha, that's lovely. Okay, so that's great. I can't see Janice's or Sarah's, but I'm sure they're lovely. And I'm just going to make some spots on mine. Spot it like that. Yellow. There are lots of different ways that you can do the eyes if you want to do the eyes later. You can just cut out a round piece of paper and stick it on. Or you can dab a bit of white paint on, or Tipp-Ex. Which I think I'm going to make mine into stripes because I like that. Stripes. Okay, so here we are. We have a stripy fish, and yeah, and I'm going to probably carry on with this later and add more sort of sticky bits. I might add some paper and add an eye. I don't think I've got any eyes cut out just now, but lovely. Swimming through the sea, and you might make a few of them. You could make a mobile out of them. You could use a kitchen roll roll, the cardboard from a kitchen roll, and you could cut along the top and then hang. I'll just show you. I think I had one earlier. Just do it. If you just cut along your kitchen roll like that, but leave a little bit in the middle, then you can pull your string along and you can have a few hanging up like that. And then you can put string through and hang from the top as well. So that's just an idea for maybe later, you know, if you want to do a bit more crafting today or another day, you can have that. So I'm very pleased with my fish, and I'm very pleased to see the other fish. And I'd really love to see pictures of the fish that you've made now or later on today or in the week. And I'd really love to feature some on my Instagram if you would let me. Oh, that's really lovely, Sarah. I'm very impressed. That's really nice. Yes. Can I see yours, Karen, a bit closer up? Oh, you used paper.
Things. Yeah, I was sticking things around scrap
Yeah.
paper, and I was sticking that on it as well.
Yeah, so you sort of torn the paper, which creates a really nice edge. Yeah,
bits and pieces of paper.
Yeah,
I was just
very nice.
sticking those on instead.
Yes. So that's our fish, our flying fish, flying through the air, accompanying the whale and the child on their journey.
Love it. That was so fun. I'm quite proud of myself. I've made something that looks like a fish, which is more than I expected, to be honest, from me. I'm just feel like I'm a disembodied voice, but I think on Facebook people can see me. So thank you so much. I've now got ideas bubbling for next week for my lessons as well. Right, lovely. I could use the book. I've got loads of cardboard tubes, and we can start making some fish. Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing with me. Is it all right if you've got some time, Karen and Padmacandra, if I ask you a couple of questions about the book and how it came about? Is that all right? Yes. Q&A. I've said to people, if you're watching on Facebook, if you've got any questions at all, you can put them on the comments so I can see them and then I can ask. But I'll start because I know sometimes people get a bit shy and they're not sure what to say. So obviously it's a really important book, I think. And I think there's lots of books now for really young children that talk about really important issues, which I think is fantastic. How did you decide, because there's so much going on in the world, how did you decide that this was going to be your message? It's a big question.
It's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, we were.
I know it's a good one, it's a big one. I don't know if it's a good question, but it's a big question.
It's a good question. We were starting to make some changes with the way that we did things at home, with the way that we shopped and the way that we bought things and stuff like that. And so, you know, starting to get more aware of some of the environmental issues that were out there, and you know, wanted to bring that through. That kids are these days are really quite interested in things about the environment. You know, you've got the school strike for climate, and you've got Extinction Rebellion and things like that going on. So children are becoming more aware of some of these issues, and I wanted to write something that gave them an opportunity to maybe start to talk about some of these issues with, you know, grown-ups around them and the friends and stuff in the world. So so it kind of came from that really. And then often, you know, things come into your head as you're thinking about these things. You think, how would you put that across, and making it in a child-friendly sort of way, you know. And I think I was sat doing my makeup one day, had my mascara out, and I was putting some makeup on, and I remember thinking about the plastic tube that it came in, how often, you know, we had plastic tubes of this, that and the other in the bathroom, and thinking, you know, well, I get a choice whether I put black stuff on my eyelashes or not, but the whales in the ocean don't really choose, and they don't really care whether I've got black eyelashes or not. So I kind of thought, well, maybe the whale could be the one to tell us the story and tell us about what it is that is in the ocean that's causing the problems to the sea life and the creatures that are there. And yeah, and so, you know, the whale kind of gave me a couple of lines in my head, which never made it into the final cut, because that's the way first drafts work. But it was something about, you know, the amount of the amount of plastic that was in the ocean, that there wasn't enough room in the ocean for all of that plastic and him and his friends, you know. So from there, and then kind of getting the idea of the child going on the journey with him, with the whale, just to sort of start to see and experience this more from the eyes of a first time I've done some scuba diving when I travelled, and that first experience you get of seeing the ocean and how beautiful it is, and the coral and the colours and the fish, it's such a wonderful experience. And I wanted to sort of bring a bit of that wonder into the story really as well, so putting it in through the eyes of the child coming in.
I think you definitely achieved that. Thank you. Do you two work closely together? I mean, it feels like it's just the perfect collaboration. It's so synchronized between your words, Karen, and your stunning illustrations, Padmacandra. Do you work quite closely together, or is it quite a separate process? How does it work?
Quite lucky, actually. I think as an author illustrated duo, I think the author often sends texts in, and then they don't always get to sort of communicate with the illustrator. But Sarah at Scallywag was fantastic, and she put us in touch straight away. And we've had quite a number of conversations about early doors, about little things like about the eye contact between the child and the whale, and because there's a lot of non-verbal kind of things that go on within the story, but the contact between the two. And Padmacandra, you've done a wonderful job of kind of bringing that together and listening to what we were talking about and making them into the characters they are. I mean, you can talk more about how you've done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I mean, I think the sense of the wonder and the beauty of the ocean was such a great starting point for the illustrations and for the story, because it is about wonder and awe, as well as, about how can we sort of like safeguard this and, kind of clear the plastic that's there. And I wanted to kind of bring in a sense of the depth of the ocean and the layers of the ocean. And I did think quite a lot about how to do the under the sea bit, as well as the over the sea bit, the land bit, and experimented quite a lot, and came up with a way of using kind of texture, like using a roller and ink, and sort of making textured pages with a roller and ink and a bit of paint, and then on top of that doing some kind of lots of crayon work where I was scratching into the crayon and sort of revealing layers underneath. It's something that anybody watching this can do, is just, and maybe already has done, is just make colours with crayon and then go over it with a darker crayon and then scratch through. So I really love the sort of luminosity of that, and I think it does reflect something about the jewel-like nature under the sea, with the sea, the light of the coming through the water, and the layered nature, because you're always looking through water. And I also, I had these printed pages, and I had the crayon work, and I put them together, and you can sort of see there's a bit, I just stuck this up. It's original artwork from the Arches page, and you can just see where I have sort of scratched through. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, just about.
Actually, but I've scratched through to reveal colours, and then I worked on that on the computer and added textures and that sort of thing. It was I mean, I don't know if it's the best way of doing it, but it's sort of evolved anyway like that, and I enjoyed it. And I think this sort of texture is quite important to bring more depth to the.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've managed that perfectly. The spread that's got the coral in the bottom left-hand corner, the vibrancy of those colours there. Yeah. It's just stunning, and it's like you've created this frame, haven't you? So the whales peeking through. It's just beautiful. It's so lovely. So how long? I know you're going to get asked this a lot, I expect, but people like to know. So how long does the process take for both of you? For the writing side for you, Karen, and for Padmacandra for the to create. There's a lot of work for both of you in that book. It's a really detailed book. So how long?
I think each text that you write, each story that you write, they vary in length as to how long they've taken you to put together. I think the rhyming texts do very much take longer because there's a lot of complexities to some of the rhythm that you put into the words. I honestly couldn't tell you how long this one took. It was just a work in progress over a period of time, you know, and you'd write a first draft, but you know, the first draft wouldn't see the light of day. It probably wouldn't even make it onto my computer. I tend to write heaps and heaps and heaps of notes in the book, you know, in notebooks before I start. I tend to write in pencil and paper, you know, and I end up writing the same lines over and over and over again, and adding bits to things, and then, you know, but again, you find that the same lines are coming through repeatedly, and they're the ones that you tend to then draw on and take forward and put them together. And you might find that you've got sort of, I don't know, a couplet in one section and a couplet in another section, and then they'll come together to make something. So the process takes a while kind of doing that, and then there's edits, and then you need to go through it again, and then you have to check for the rhythm as well. With the rhyming text, you need the rhythm to sort of follow through as well. So yeah, they take quite a while. And then I know it goes, I think you were sent the written version, weren't you, Padmacandra?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that whole preparing and getting the text ready, but then there's a whole kind of collaboration that goes on. I was working with Ness Wood, who was a designer, who sort of like sets out the pages, but also felt like a sort of support in the background, and would comment on images and things like that. And then you were working with Janice, and we all worked with Janice, the editor. And then Sarah would come in with things as well. So it was very collaborative. Once the text was sort of virtually finished, and then I was submitting various stages. You start with thumbnails, which are just very, very rough things. I was lucky because Ness sort of like, and the others decided which pages the different text would go on, and then I would decide where in the image I'd want the text to go, and then I would send the thumbnails through to the team, and I'd get feedback, and then there'd be another lot of thumbnails, and then it would be going on to roughs, which is where the thumbnails become proper kind of roughs, and that gets sent in, and then there's a whole like 3 rounds of that. And then, you know, the very final stage, yeah, the final stage is the full illustrations, and there's really, it's really right at the end that starts to happen. You might have, at the beginning, you might have sent in some samples, just so people will want to know what it's going to look like. Yeah. So I mean, that whole was really great, that whole process. I learnt a lot, because it's, you know, for Karen and me, it's a sort of first foray into all of this. Yeah. But the whole
it doesn't feel like the first book. It feels like you're kind of seasoned pros that you've been working together for forever. It's just so, honestly, it's so seamless between, yeah, it's just beautiful. Are there plans? I know that people know this. Have you got plans for working together again?
I think you've got another book in the pipeline.
I'd be happy to. Yeah.
You've got another one in the pipeline, haven't you, Padmacandra?
Oh yes, I have got one that I've written myself. Yeah.
Ooh.
In the pipeline.
Do we know anything about it?
Or is it very different. It's a kind of, it's with Scallywag, and it's much more of a sort of fun, bouncy kind of story for slightly younger children, and it's sort of about the relationship between the children and the grown-ups, and how children can kind of bring this playfulness into life, and how important it is to be playful and not take things too seriously. And also it's a connection between grandparents and little ones.
Lovely. And what about you, Karen? Have you got plans?
Yeah, I've got a gazillion and one books in my head, so they are kind of seeing the light of day as they gradually come out of my head and onto the computer. So yeah, generally sending text out, so it's good.
Exciting times. Well, thank you so much. I think it's probably a good time to leave it, because I know little ones get a bit fidgety. It's a long time in front of the screen. But as Padmacandra said, if you make some fish either today or during the week and you want to send pictures in, then please do. and then we can share them. And we would love to see the world full of flying fish, please. There you go. All they can be all different colours and whatever you want. It'll be lovely to see them. As modelled by. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on this quite chilly Saturday morning, and thank you to everyone that's joined it. I've had just a lovely little message in on Facebook from Nicola saying thank you all, we enjoyed the story and the crafts. Thank you, Nicola. So Nicola, if you want to send us in pictures of what you've done, then it would be lovely and I can share them with everyone else. That'd be fantastic. Okay, I'm going to sign off of Facebook now. So thank you for joining us on Facebook. If you've just caught the tail end, we've been recording it, so you'll be able to watch it later. So big thank you and goodbye to Karen and Padmacandra. Give everybody a wave. I shall just stop the live.